Mats from PONTON. Our core business is to help our clients achieve the maximum interoperability for their business integration projects. So our clients are business consortia, mainly from the energy sector, but also from others. In these episodes, which I'm going to present, we will focus on the question, what is interoperability and how can it be maximized? I will show some projects that we have done with our clients and which have improved the data exchange between the participants over years. I will also show AS4 as one of the standard workhorses for data exchange. And then over to you. What is your data integration issue and how can we help here? The EDA project is our signature project in interoperability, in achieving maximum interoperability. EDA stands for Energy Data Exchange in Austria, and EDA is the general data exchange infrastructure for all Austrian energy companies and market participants. It started with a supplier switching process, where data exchange is required between grid operators and the new supplier, and also between the new supplier and the old supplier. I don't want to focus on the functional parts of EDA, but on the standardization. What we did was we standardized XML document formats as a first step in connection with the business process, as I have explained. And then, of course, we also standardized the young part, the data exchange. And we used AS4 nowadays. Previously, we used EBXML. And by the way, the switch from EBXML to AS4 just took half an hour because everything was standardized and the software was capable to do so. The question is now, who participates in this process? How many participants? At the beginning, not so many. Today, it is more than 280 of them. It's grid operators, it's suppliers, it's other market roles. So, for example, as you may know, in Austria, energy communities proliferate dramatically. Yeah? Every month, hundreds of new energy communities pop up, and they need a community manager. And this is a new market role, so also energy communities need to exchange data with grid operators and other market roles. So what we see is we have started with one process, and then over time additional processes need to be added and put upon the same existing data exchange infrastructure. And here on this picture, you can see what is the standardized part. This is the line, this circle, which defines that AS4 is used as a standard data exchange protocol. And then the different participants, be it DSOs, be it suppliers, be it the TSO or energy community operators, they use either pontongmbh as a data exchange tool to send and receive messages with the other participants, or it could also be other vendors. This is XYZ in this picture. And inside this circle is the standardized part, so AS4 as a data exchange protocol. What we also use is a registry. And what the registry helps is to distribute changes in the configuration of a participant. Because every participant has an IP address, for example, and if that changes, it needs to be communicated to the others. And in the best case, if we standardize it well, and if we have also interoperability in this matter, the other participants download the previously uploaded change in the profile of one participant so that the others can automatically store that and reach that participant under the new IP address, should that happen. The same also what is stored in the registry is information about the document formats which are supported. You can imagine whatever sector you are in, there is always a new version of a document format. So let's say an invoice, you start with an invoice number, with an invoice format 1.0, then comes 1.1, 1.2, then there's a more substantial change in the structure of the invoice. This is then 2.0, and then comes again 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, and so on. And participants don't support all 17 historic versions for invoices. They may only support the last 2 or 3 versions. And by the way, how many versions are supported or must be supported by the participants is again subject of standardization, which increases interoperability. But if you want to reject a message which is sent to someone who doesn't support a previous version number, then you also need to keep track of the document versions supported for each of the participants. And that exactly can also be stored in the registry. So the registry is not just to identify the participants, it also holds information which is needed to avoid communication on the basis of a wrong version, and many other aspects. And all this is part of standardization and interoperability. When a business community is small, it's easy to configure everyone else by yourself. So you have 20 endpoints for communication, so everyone needs to configure the other 19. However, when the community grows, it might be 100 or 200 or 300 participants, and then it's turning into a difficulty if you, with your firewall system, needs to keep track of the address of every participant. And what we did here, in the case of EDA, we used a communication router, which we call SIA, Single Internet Address, which just means that this is a forwarding mechanism which can be addressed by everyone at the same location, and then this central router forwards the message to the right receiver, because the router stores the address of each participant. In that sense, this keeps a lot of burden from the participants, because the IP address of the router possibly changes every 10 years, if at all. And so the system is much more stable and less firewall operations need to be performed. Also the communication router is absolutely lightweight. It can support millions of transmissions per day. That is not a problem. We have proved that already with some of our projects. And in that sense, we also use that with EDA, because it allows to expand the number of participants nearly endless. In that sense, EDA is well designed, well standardized, and allows for extension at the application level, all based on the same communication infrastructure. If you compare that to the German approach to market communication, far less of what could be standardized is indeed standardized. And what was the effect? Well, that there was uncertainty how to implement this, how to implement that. It wasn't not clear how to do that. You had a large range of vendors, and having many vendors in a situation of a lack of standardization, this leads to a very chaotic situation. And if you compare Austria to Germany, I don't want to preach here. You should better ask those who are present on both markets. So ask suppliers who are from Germany and who know the market communication effort regarding integration but also operation in Germany, and how that compares to the Austrian solution. Ask them, and then you will hear what yin yang yang exactly means. So that's about EDA, and in the next video I will speak about PAPINet. This is not energy business, this is the paper industry, and it's a quite old project that we have done many years ago, but the approach is still valid. Thank you.